This act of kindness by Elon Musk will affect you deeply. Musk, whom everyone knows only for his success in the business world, is now on the agenda with a humanitarian act. After meeting a man living on the street, Elon did something that is much more than an ordinary story of help. This encounter changed a life forever and left behind an unforgettable story. If you want to see more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video and comment. Now get ready to hear this incredible story. After leaving a business meeting, Elon Musk liked to take a short stroll through the streets of Los Angeles to collect his thoughts, usually on foot. As he was doing so that day, his eye caught an elderly man sitting on a corner. The man's worn clothes, the old tin can in front of him, and his pensive gaze caused Elon to stop in his tracks. Elon was someone who had struggled with many difficulties throughout his life. The hardships of his youth had made him sensitive to such images. He stood next to the old man and watched him for a while. People were passing by, but no one was looking at him. Elon, however, noticed a sentence written on a piece of cardboard in front of the man. "I was once an inventor and a dreamer." This sentence intrigued Elon. He quietly approached the man and asked, "Hello, what is your name?" The man looked up and said in a dull voice, "My name is Edward." Elon wanted to know his story. After just a few minutes of talking, he realized that Edward's life on the street actually had a much deeper story. Edward told him that many years ago he had been an engineer, but through unfortunate events he had lost everything. This story touched Elon deeply. This man, who once had dreams, was now struggling to survive on the streets. Elon made a decision at that moment. Elon talked to Edward for a while to understand him better. Edward explained that he once worked as an engineer at a tech company, but lost everything due to problems at work, debts, and health issues. "I was once part of innovation," Edward said, "but now people ignore me." Elon listened carefully to Edward's story. Edward's frustration and loss reminded Elon of the struggles of his youth. "I think everything deserves a chance," Elon told Edward. "And today, perhaps, is the day to rewrite your story." Elon offered to pay for Edward to stay temporarily in a hotel. But Edward was silent for a long time, unable to believe that this offer was real. "Why are you helping me?" Edward asked. Elon smiled and said, "Because you said you are an inventor and a dreamer. Maybe your story is not finished yet." These words made Edward feel hope again, a feeling he had lost for a long time. As Elon left Edward's side, he told him, "Today is just the beginning. Tomorrow I'll come to pick you up and we'll see what we can do." The next morning, Elon picked Edward up from the hotel and bought him a hot breakfast. Edward said it was the first time in a long time that he felt human. During breakfast, Elon told him that he wanted to help him more and that he had a plan. Edward talked about his old days as an engineer. His eyes filled with tears as he talked about the projects he did and the opportunities he lost during those years. Elon immediately recognized how talented he was. "You built something once," Elon said, "and I think you can build again." Elon took Edward to a SpaceX facility. He told him that he would be given a small project and put back to work. Edward found it hard to believe at first, but Elon's determination gave him strength. "Are you really going to do this for me?" he asked. Elon could only nod his head. That day, for the first time in a long time, Edward began to look at life with hope. As he began working on projects in a room at SpaceX, he felt the confidence he had lost in the past slowly returning. When Edward started working on the small projects he was assigned at SpaceX, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time: belonging. Elon asked him to work on a simple circuit design. Edward started the project with shaking hands. Although he struggled at first, over time his old knowledge and skills began to return. Elon often stopped by Edward's side and encouraged him. "We all have to start somewhere," he said. Edward was deeply grateful for Elon's support. Within a few weeks, Edward began to take more responsibility for the projects he was assigned. What had once seemed impossible now became a challenge for him. In the process, Edward was regaining not only his technical skills but also his self-confidence. Other employees at SpaceX also learned about his story and came to respect him. Edward was no longer just a man struggling to survive on the streets, but an engineer and a team member. One day, Elon said to Edward, "I gave you a chance, but you were the real transformation." Edward's eyes welled up when he heard those words, and he replied, "You did me a favor that I will never forget." But Edward's story did not end there. After his first success at SpaceX, Edward started spending more time with Elon. One day, Elon told him he needed to forgive his past mistakes. "We all fall in life," Elon said. "But the important thing is to learn to get up when we fall." These words touched Edward deeply. He began to think back to the darkest periods of his life. The jobs he lost, the friendships that vanished, and the dreams that were shattered. But this time, thinking about his past didn't scare him. With Elon's support, he learned not to let the past define him. Elon helped Edward find some of his former co-workers. These people had played an important role in Edward's life, but they had parted ways years ago. When Edward met one of his old friends, he apologized to him for the mistakes he had made in the past. This meeting was both challenging and healing for Edward. As Edward forgave his past, he began to focus more firmly on the future. He was no longer just a man trying to survive, but a man rewriting his own story. Elon's support was a turning point for him. In his second year at SpaceX, Edward started working on bigger projects. He was no longer just completing his assigned tasks, but also coming up with innovative ideas. Elon recognized his success and one day said to him, "Edward, you are not an employee, you are an inspiration." Edward started to make changes not only in his professional life, but also in his personal life. With his salary at SpaceX, he rented a small house and was completely free from living on the street. More importantly, he started an organization to help other homeless people. "Elon gave me a chance," he said, "and now it's my job to give it to others." The organization quickly became a huge success. Edward learned that people living on the streets needed to be supported not only financially but also spiritually, so he ran his organization according to this principle. Elon also supported this project and continued to stand by Edward. Edward was now completely different from the person he once was. He had reached a place he had dreamed of all his life and was reborn under Elon's guidance. But this story was a testament not only to Edward, but also to Elon's human side. Edward's story has gone down in history as a success story from the streets to SpaceX. But this story wasn't just about one man's resurrection. It also showed the human side of Elon Musk and his power to change a person's life. Edward was no longer just an engineer, but a leader and an inspiration. The organization he founded had helped thousands of homeless people and changed their lives. In every conversation, he expressed his gratitude to Elon and said, "One person can change another person's life. Elon taught me that." As Elon watched Edward's success, he was so proud of him. This was not just a story of helping, but a story of two people inspiring each other. Edward's success was a reflection of Elon's belief in people. Today, Edward's story continues to be an inspiration around the world. Elon's act of kindness changed not only Edward's life, but also the thousands of lives he touched. This story is a testament to how powerful hope and humanitarian aid can be. If this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. We will continue to inspire you with stories like this.